We're good.
And how many shares? 279.
And we're live.
Are we on?
Yeah.
18,000. Over 18,000 views of last week's video. Holy crap. I think, what was our second highest? What was our highest up until last week?
Just under 10.
Just under 10. We almost doubled it. Thank you, thank you, thank you, Pit Nation and everybody from around the world. We really appreciate the support. People are sending us text messages, letting us know how much they appreciate these videos. How many shares do we have, Josh? 279 likes and shares. Some of them were doubles, so you only get one entry in the drawing. Josh, look, Josh is making up pancake mix here. We're making pancakes. We got the dog bowl here. There's all your names in here.
It's a Tupperware bowl.
Tupperware bowl. Looks like his dog. You ever see the pictures of Josh posting his dog sleeping on the couch, laying on his feet, taking the day off? Josh had a rough day yesterday. His car broke down. So,
What? Okay, great.
now this is cool. All right, so all your names are in here. You want me to draw?
Yep.
All right, I'll draw. Hold it up.
Who's
So I
gonna
don't-
blame?
Here we go. Live on.
My handwriting's kind of bad, so you may have to.
Got everybody in here. This is for a wild streak. Any weight that you want. You ready? Countdown. 3, 2, 1. This one. Who is it?
Who is it?
Jason, is that a Hillman? I think that says Hillman.
No way. Let me see. That's Jason Hillman.
Jason
In-house
Hillman.
winner. He's lucky. He wins a lot.
Congratulations, Jason. So you got to make sure that you see Josh and get you hooked up and get that ball drilled so it can go down the lane. What else? What else? There was a couple other things.
IQ Tour.
Hey, check this out. We talked about we were going to do the IQ today, the IQ series. I happened to go back in my old boxes, and I found a original IQ, the first one of the IQ series that came out. I actually used this ball during the qualifying of, I believe, my second title when I won against Mika on the TV show. I used this ball during qualifying. So it was in a box back in the back. I went and grabbed it, put some grips in it, and we're going to throw this today. I also have 2 IQ Tours. The one with the scribe lines, if you can see the scribe lines, the one with the scribe lines, that was drilled on tour, and this one is a fresher cover that I drilled, basically the same as the one that's out on tour. And then I have a IQ 30 with that normal 5-inch pin layout that we've been testing and showcasing each week. And then I have one that's drilled. This is about 4.5 inches for me, and this is pinned under my ring finger. We drilled this on tour with the scribe lines. As you can see, this one we have a little. We took the what do I want to say? The box cover. We took that off. You can see it's got a little bit more surface on it. Still has a weight hole in it. And then we have the IQ Emerald that we've thrown a handful of times on these videos. And then in my bag, since I used it this past weekend and loved it, we bowled on 45 feet, tournament up in Canada, and this looked really, really good again. So that Phase 3, that's definitely a keeper. If you don't have that in your bag, I would say run out and go grab one of those. Okay, and then look at this. I have my spare ball on the rack. There were some of you. Actually, it wasn't some of you. There was one of you.
He's a professional auto mechanic.
That had requested that I showcase some spare shots. So I don't know. I guess I kind of took that as though us professionals or so-called professionals
Don't know how to make spares.
don't know how to make spares.
So we're gonna call him out right here and now.
No, we're not gonna call him.
No. You know who you are. Now you can eat some
for
crow
crying out loud.
while you watch and go down the lane. All right. Sorry, had to be said. That's what you say.
So if I miss the spare, then you can like and share it, and you can post it all over the world, because I probably will miss spares because I'm just a professional.
Rick Benoit said he's watching from Starbucks in Denver, Colorado.
Starbucks, Denver, Colorado. Rick Benoit is there. So those of you,
It's gonna be people running in for autographs.
okay, listen. A shout out to Bowl U and Bowl U Nation.
I'm having, by the
So
way,
I
I'm
don't see
having
any.
signs
I
made.
don't see any logos on this one again.
The what?
There's no logos on this shirt again. There's all the Bowl
Well,
U
I'll
stuff.
tell you why. Because this is one of the jerseys that I wear on tour, and Bowl U isn't product registered for the tour, so I can't have it on this jersey. That's the only reason why. But you can turn that way, and you get it up on the wall. It's certainly on the wall of our center. I want to make a mention to everybody watching. I kind of wish I would have last week for the almost 19,000 people that watched. Bowl U, if you haven't been made aware of or are not aware of what Bowl U is, please just go check it out. It's the absolute best teaching that there is out there. Rick Benoit, the founder of Bowl U, as we just said, he's on live with us right now. So throw some questions his way. If you want to ask more about what Bowl U is, he's right there now. Go ahead, shoot it out, and then Rick, you can go on record as to trying to get that out there to as many people as possible. Also, Rick has scheduled some Bowl U camps around the country. He's going to be traveling a lot over the next year. So reach out to him if you're interested, or maybe Rick, you can post where the handful are that you have right now that are already scheduled. Throw those up in these comments. And if you want a Bowl U workshop in your area, please let Rick and or I know, and we'll try to get one scheduled, and you can help us host one in your local area. And it'll be awesome. They really are great. They've been really well received everywhere we go, and it would be great to continue to grow the Bowl U brand here in the U.S. All right, so I have my voice back, so this video should be at least an hour and a half long. Last week,
About an hour, guys.
about an hour again. I don't know. We're just going to throw some shots. Lane 21 again. I'm going to start out with that original IQ. Looks like it's got some lane shine on it. It's been in the box for probably 5 years. This was 2012.
Hasn't seen the light of day. It's happy.
This is happy. This is like Toy Story. It's like Toy Story. I walked in the back and I
All right,
heard
that's
something
enough.
coming from one of the boxes. I opened up the box and it was this IQ. So I thought, hey, I'll bring this out and we'll have some fun with this today. All right? Okay, here we go. Standard, standing 15, looking 16, 17. Been doing the same thing every week. On your mark, get set, go. Are you kidding me?
It doesn't even have.
What's going on?
I put my bowling shoes on today. I don't normally wear the bowling shoes for videos. Many of you know that I plant when I go into the foul line. So I usually just wear whatever it is that I had on at the time, and that's sufficient. But the shoes that I wore last week, they did mark up our approach a little bit, so I took a few extra minutes and had to take that off last week. So I had those shoes on again today, so I put my bowling shoes on. So I don't mark up the approaches. So you proprietors that have already texted me and said, hey, listen, could you please wear your bowling shoes because it's not really good for those. Okay, I got it. Don't wear your regular shoes when you're bowling. Wear your bowling shoes. Okay, I said it. All right. This ball doesn't flare that much. Remember last week when we were throwing that Wild Street? by now there was no oil on the ball. So, anyways, doesn't flare that much.
Pretty soon that Roto Grip UFO's coming out. There'll be a video on that once Brad gets one of those bad boys.
Maybe we should give one of those away too. Yeah, I think I like that. We should get a video of Josh right now. Josh is fuming. I'll cover the next one for our Pit Nation group. Let's get the word out there.
That thing looks like a wet turd.
2 for 2.
At least he doesn't have to throw any spares.
That's a pretty weak ball there. And I haven't missed a spare yet, by the way.
His name's Christopher Hughes.
Oh, jeez.
no,
God.
we're not supposed to mention names.
Christopher Hughes, professional mechanic from New Jersey.
Stop.
Man, that thing is... How did you win with that thing?
Another frame without a missed spare. That's three frames, no missed spares.
All right, enough of that one. That don't look good.
Well, that's a pretty weak. That's probably another ½ inch. So that's probably 5.5 inches from my axis. And remember, guys, this has been sitting around for probably 4 or 5 years just in the box back there. Back then, and don't quote me on this, but back then, I think Viper was maybe 37 or 38 feet. And it was at South Point before the new plaza was built. Those of you that know that surface out there, that's a really high friction surface. And I was able to use it more on the fresh. I used it for like the first 3 or 4 games of the block and got a lot of good shots out of it. I'm going to throw it one more time just so it doesn't get too sad. I thought I turned my thing off. Is that anybody I have to answer? Sorry, my phone's going off. We have a big delivery scheduled, so I got to listen for the delivery bell. If you hear the delivery bell, we're going to have to go get that delivery.
I didn't know there was a delivery bell.
Yeah, back in the kitchen.
All right, you can make a spare here, huh?
Oh, great. Now I got to try to make this.
You're going to make it.
I don't know about the first shot. We'll see. I'll try it. If I miss it, you're more than welcome to call me out.
Ah!
You know, us professionals, sometimes we really stink.
Jesus.
Okay, so enough of that ball. We will go to the next one in the IQ line. Regular, the famous IQ Tour. This is a 2018. This is a 2019.
Brad's very particular about what year the ball.
Very particular about that. So I'm going to throw it from the same spot.
Ooh, all right, good spare shooting.
That's right, now I got to try to make this spare.
2 balls, baby.
I'll try it.
2 balls. Here we go.
I'll try it with 2 IQs. How about that? We'll try it. Technically, I haven't missed a spare yet
No, make
because it was a split. Now you got to like and share that. Come on, are you kidding me? I'm out here working for peanuts here. All right. we'll throw this again. Obviously, you saw this was stronger. And I remember when this ball came out, right after the original IQ came out, this was certainly it was a more usable ball. There wasn't a lot of people that used that original IQ, and then this IQ Tour has certainly stood the test of time. I think it came out in maybe 2012, maybe? Does that sound about right?
Ish, yeah.
Ish, somewhere else. So it's been around for a while. Another one of those benchmark balls. Okay, looks pretty good. Looks pretty good. All right, we'll use this. The other one.
Did you see how much more that one just hooks?
Yeah, of
The
course.
original one?
Yep. Well, now here's the other reason too. The original one, as I said, is drilled about 5.5 inches. It's drilled above my above my middle finger. You see that? And these ones, look at the difference in the flare lines. And this is probably about an inch to an inch and a half closer. So this is about 4, maybe 4.5 versus 5.5. So it's just a much stronger layout for me. And now we have a, even though it's a year older, I did just drill this one. So this, I think, a little fresher cover.
Yeah, that definitely.
That read a little bit easier, I would say. Again, these IQ Tours, these were great bowling balls. Are. We talk about the best balls ever, or at least in the Storm and Roto Grip line. My brain immediately goes to IQ Tour, Idol, Phase 2, yeah, High Road. You know, those types of balls, those have been around for, years now, and then they're still going strong. So
The High
all
Road,
right,
what,
another
just
shot,
turned
then
11?
we'll get to the 30. Uh-oh, my first spare shot. All right, I got to bear down.
Is the overhead one there?
Yeah.
Now, when I shoot spares, for real, when I shoot spares, especially single pin spares, during practice, I try to make sure that I hit the pin and then the ball again hits the pin in the pit. So I try to double bounce that pin. Or at least by sound, hearing the ball hit really the meat of the pin. So not just knocking it over, but really taking that variance and really zeroing it into where you're hitting the bulk of that pin, making that good solid sound.
I got a great question.
So I'm going to
for
try
you
to bounce this.
once you're done doing it.
Not bounce it out, I'm just going to try to hit it and then have the ball hit it again. So I'm trying to take it straight back. Okay, that was still a solid sound, but as you saw, that was just a little bit left of center. Still a quality spare shot.
There, I got a question.
Okay, yes, question.
Chris and Jessica, does it matter which year the bowling ball was poured?
That is a good question. There are a lot of schools of thought out there that some batches of bowling balls happen to be better than other batches of bowling balls. Some batches, if they have a more of a different color in them, they seem to roll better. I'll be real honest. I don't know. I think there is some truth to some of that, but at the same time, I think that the ball is still the ball, the core is still the core. The oil you're bowling on is still the oil you're bowling on. Controlling transition, adapting to transition, that's still what we have to do. And if you happen to drill a ball that reacts subtly different than the same ball that you just had, well, let's take an example for a phase 2. You have one phase 2 that you loved, and then a year and a half later you drilled another phase 2, and it's not exactly the same. Well, I mean, what is it? Is it the surface prep that they do at the factory? Were those the fresh pads that they put on the machine to give it the box finish, or were they the last use of those pads that they put that box finish on it? You know, I mean, all of those things are all variables. So my brain is sounding like, yeah, I feel like I'm trying to dodge the question, but I'm not. I'm not meaning to sound like I'm dodging the question. It still is. You gotta be honest with what you see, and then adapt to what's in front of you, whether that's with a ball or whether that's with the oil. So does that answer your question?
This may answer the question better. When he sees something like an Alpha Crux and he sees that it's poured in 2014, he gets all giddy. So that should answer your question for you. Yes, I guess.
Well, I think those original Alpha Cruxes, when they first came out, you know, those were pretty good. And then
I just drew 770 with it on Monday night.
Yeah, so Josh just drilled a Alpha Crux, and he bowled great with it. What'd you shoot?
770.
770. It's a 4-game league, so that's not bad for Josh. I'm just kidding. All right, IQ 30. I did use this particular one quite a bit, but it never really made it into my arsenal for whatever the reason. I think it was a little, for me, it was a little weak down lane, and I was trying to use these out on tour, and there's so much oil out on tour, and the transition that happens out on tour, ball gets really hydroplaning, and with my, you know, I mean, I have about a 700 or an 800 rev rate, so, just kidding, obviously. With my lower rev rate relative to the guys out on tour, this particular ball didn't match up that well to the transitions that happened out on tour. I'll be honest, if I throw these down the lane and I actually like the shape, I might throw them in my car. They might stay in my car, and if I'm at a tournament to where I need something like this, it might come out again and I might be able to use it, okay? So I'll throw this, see what's up. Now from the same spot, still standing 15, looking 17. That was a bad shot, but got another spare shot. Now during leagues, the lateral definition of the pattern that we have in leagues. Many times during leagues, I try to shoot the 3-6-10 off of what I have done for my strike target. So I just move, you know, 4 or 5 to the left, maybe 1 left with my feet, get that ball to the friction, because we all know that if the farther to the right you get the ball, there's more friction there. And I end up hooking it during league. In flatter patterns during tournaments, I do not shoot the 3-6-10 that way. I shoot it cross lane, and I shoot it off of my 10 pin, believe it or not. So we'll use this as a teaching moment. This is where I stand for my 10 pin. I stand 27 for my 10 pin, and I look at 22. Now I got the 3-6-10, and I want to try to make those 3 pins be as much behind each other as possible. I don't want to take too much angle at these, or take too shallow of angle at these, and make those pins be wider in essence. I want to try to make them be as close to behind each other as possible. So how would I do that off of my 10 pin? And this is something that I've experimented with, and my suggestion is you go experiment too. So how I shoot the 3.610 is I stand on 35. So I actually move 8 left. And then I look at 29. So I stand on 35 and look 29. So I have moved 8 and 7 left. And then I just try to do the same thing and walk towards my target and hit my target, okay? So 35, 29. Or at least that's where I'm looking. Probably hit 30 or 31. And my last thought for my spares are always, just hit your target. Just hit your target, okay? 35, 29. All right, just hit your target. Now, in my mind, I missed that spare. But because I took used much more angle, what am I trying to say? Is it a shallower angle? Help me out, guys. Because I moved as far left as I could, and I made those 3 pins kind of get closer to each other.
You're closing them down.
Okay? That helped me make that spare. In essence, I missed that spare. Had I shot that spare the same way from over here and hit that part of the pin, that wouldn't have made that spare like that.
All right, I got a question. Do you believe in putting the same layout on every ball and play with the covers, or vice versa? I'm heading off to the shop, folks.
Here, hold this real quick, Walla, and then go to the shop. 2 seconds.
I talked about this in one of the other videos, and it's important to revisit. Rick, if you have a comment or a comment answer to that question, in your opinion, please put it in for us. My thought is that I'm very, very fortunate to be able to drill as many bowling balls as I need to drill. So in my particular case, I do put the same layout in almost every bowling ball that comes out. I put that standard 5-inch pin above my fingers layout in that ball, and then I throw it. And let's say that particular ball is way too weak. Well, I may drill another one of that ball stronger. Or I may adjust the surface of the original 5-inch pin. Or let's say the 5-inch pin, wow, this is way too strong. I might drill another one of those and maybe put it 5.5 or 6 inches. But that's me. And again, I'm very fortunate that Storm has allowed me to be on their staff for so long, and they make me have the chance to drill as many of any of the balls as I need to. But that's not the majority of the people. So I really believe strongly what I'm going to say here. The answer to your particular question is you must find a pro shop that knows what they are doing, period. And then have that pro shop be watching you throw the ball down the lane and help choose a layout for you of a particular ball. I have somebody else, one of our customers here in the shop, they asked, hey, how about this particular ball? Now this person throws the ball very, very slow, and they have a very low rev rate. So they were asking, would this ball be a good ball for me? And this ball is a very, very strong asymmetric ball. And the answer would be no, I don't think that would be, unless you're bowling on a ton of oil, which they're not. So, that's the pro shop's job, to be able to help you determine what layout is going to be a good layout to drill in that particular ball that you're deciding to drill. And there's a lot of times that Josh or we might steer a person clear of a ball that they want to drill because there's a better choice up on the wall. Not so we can charge them more money or whatever. Sometimes they want to buy a ball that's $220 and we talk them into a ball that's $190 because that ball is a better choice for what they have in the arsenal that they already have. Okay, so guys, you guys are listening in. Does that make sense to you? Do you understand the importance of making sure you have a pro shop? Now, many people think that the pro shop they go to, oh yeah, wow, they're the greatest pro shop. And I'm not saying they're not, but I'm also not saying that they are. So ask around to other people, find a pro shop in your area that is certainly qualified and has a general understanding of ball motion. If you have a pro shop in your area that has been at all affiliated with Bowl U, that would help you dramatically. That would help you because I believe that the Bowl U teaching and understanding of what ball motion is, I think is fantastic. And so any pro shop that has been made aware of ball motion through the eyes of Bowl U, I think they are probably some of the most qualified, not the only qualified, but some of the most qualified pro shops in the country. And there are a handful of them. So anyway, I hope that answers your question. Okay, we'll throw this again. I'll try to throw a better shot. Certainly this is going to be quicker response time than the IQ Tour. Definitely saw that quicker response time there. When I watch it, that's okay, just let it go. Sorry guys, I forgot to turn off the ringer on my phone. I usually try to remember that, and I just didn't. Of the bowling balls that are out on the market, I would say that of what guys use on tour, this is probably the weakest, or certainly one of the weakest cores that we have access to, or that you see go down the lane a lot out on tour. The differential of this core is a 029, which is a pretty low differential. And really, what does that mean? Well, it helps the ball get through the front part of the lane. Doesn't want to really spin as fast. So, a weaker core 4 times when the fronts are really hooking. Or, like I said, when I used that original IQ out when I made that TV show, a lot of friction in the surface. So we were able to make the weaker core look pretty good there. Okay? Got that one a little right. You saw that come in contact with some friction and certainly checked a little bit. That's the response time characteristic of that cover. But how often do I go for a split like this? Not every time, depending on the situation. Sometimes if I'm on a strike and I'm ahead in count, I might just make sure I get the one. Other times, if I needed a mark in the 10th frame and I left this, of course I'm going to go for it. So somewhere in the middle of those two extremes, you got to know where you're at on the scoreboard, know where you're at relative to the cut line as to whether or not I take on the risk of making it or even trying to attempt to make a spare like this. But I'll try it for right now. No guarantees. Still not quite loose, but I'll give it a try. I have deadwood in the gutter, so we don't have a mechanic on right now, so I'm still going to shoot it. But if I make it, Sean Rash, shout out to you. If it hits that deadwood, okay, we won't count it. We'll just go from there. Oh! Thought I was going to come close. I came real close to making that. Okay, we'll throw one more shot with this, and then we'll certainly be able to see the difference in higher pin versus lower pin layouts. I have that other IQ 30 with a lower pin layout. Yeah, that look pretty good again. All right, we'll throw this lower pin layout. Now, my brain's working a little overtime, and I'm actually questioning myself, why in the world am I bringing out balls that are discontinued to throw down the lane? Is that really to say that this ball is a great ball, or you should have this ball if you can find one? No, guys, it's not. It's not the ball as much as it is our assessment and the usability of that ball. And Josh, he's pretty creative in trying to think out of the box as to things that we could do for you to help educate you, bowling balls, bowling ball technology, and that kind of stuff in a little bit different way that's not really being done out on a lot of the videos that you would see. And so when he said, hey, I want to feature the IQ Emerald and the IQ Tour, I said, yeah, that's great. And then I started thinking about it, and I said, geez, I got that original IQ, I think I still have that, which I brought out. And then, wow, I think I have a couple of the 30s in my garage. So I went rummaging through some of those balls and actually had 2 of them that, again, I have used. So there's 4 different IQ options here. Fresher cover, used cover, different layouts. So we're just trying to help you get a little grasp on the different shapes that you can. Yeah, I'm struggling here. Sorry. Different usabilities, what different layouts not do, but the usability of different layouts. Remember, we use lower layouts for smoother response times. Stronger layouts would yield more flare. Until you get to that magic leverage, that 3 3/8 point, and then the closer you get, the flare lines decrease again. So anyways, we'll just throw this down the lane. This does have a little bit more surface on it than the other 30 that we had. I think that other 30, that's original box finish. I don't think I've ever hit that. But Tim, can you see? It's hard for me to really tell
you can see some sheen
what you're able to see in the camera versus what you can see here live.
You can definitely see the difference.
Yeah, there definitely is. So I'm going to throw it from the same place. The friction component should be up. This is a little stronger drilling, but it still should be smoother than that other 30. Just go from there. That definitely just kind of laid there. So that was usable. I'll throw some more shots. Get this one a little more to the right. And that just kind of stayed there. Again, stronger layout, smoother response time. Probably wouldn't use that right now. In this case, probably wouldn't use any of these right now, to be honest with you. I think just it's too weak a core. Oh, I better shoot a spare. Got another washout. But that's not technically a spare that I would expect to make. Probably a half the time. If I get really sharp, maybe 2/3 of the time, but probably half the time I should make that. Okay, hopefully you can see, that's just real smooth. That's a smoother layout. I don't get to use that layout very much. There's not too many balls that I have liked that layout in. I think for the higher rev rate guys, I think that layout is very usable. And like I said, me having, 800 RPMs, so I don't get to use that much. All right, IQ Emerald. This ball for me is very, very close to earning its way in my arsenal. I used this again a couple shots this past weekend, and it looked good, but it was a little bit on the weak side. Again, we were on 45 feet, and I threw it a couple shots, and it didn't read in the part of the lane that I really wanted it to, and so then I went to that phase 3, and the phase 3 looked great, so I continued to use it. I'm going to tell you what, I don't know how that ball is marketed. I really don't. But that pearlized cover seems to be stronger, a lot stronger than the IQ30 pearlized cover. All right, 35, 29. Live TV stinks sometimes. Sometimes when you're on live TV, it's not that easy. I have so many of the people that showed up here behind me. I feel like I'm in front of a huge crowd right now. So, thank all of you for coming in. I haven't seen you in a while. Thank you, but all of you that have been here to show up.
Oh, we got a couple here.
All right, guess what I'm going to do? Tim, you gotta get this on tape. I'm having problems holding on to that spare ball. Flying out of the thumb a little bit too fast. And so, I'm going to put a half a piece of tape in. So there's a 1-inch piece of tape. I'm just going to rip it in half. I'm going to put this in. See how much tape I have in that thumb hole? Okay, now we're going to go to work. And if you notice, that's a brand new thumb hole that I have. Now, I've had this plugged and it's cracked a little bit, and I don't really care as long as it knocks over the pins. And right now it's not doing its job, but it has nothing to do with the ball. It has to do with me. So hopefully I can hold on to it a little bit better. I move for this. I still stand on 35, but I move my eyes one right. Again, I'm trying to make the 610 be as close to being behind each other as I can and try to turn it into a one-pin spare and just try to eliminate the chop. I see so many people, they try to hook at this, even if they have a spare ball. So many people. Or they, they throw it up the gutter, or, they bring that friction into play. And the more that they do that, the more that they take those two pins, and there's so much space in between them that it brings the chop into play. I've had students to where I've suggested to shoot it way over here as far left as you can, and many of them say, I just don't feel comfortable doing that. And so, listen, I get that, but go out and practice and try to take as much of the chop factor out of play as you possibly can, and do that through practice. All right. 35, 28. I just put the piece of tape in, so I should be able to make this now. It feels a lot better on my thumb. And that was better. So let that be the lesson. If you feel like you're having to really squeeze to hold on to the ball, it doesn't mean that the pro shop screwed up and made your thumb hole too big. That's what tape is for. Be willing to put a piece of tape in so that you can get that comfortable fit that you need, okay? All right. Throw a couple more with this. Obviously, I would need to move a little farther left or increase my speed. How about if I stay where I'm at and increase my speed? Do that. Hey, that was a little better. Again, I'm missing everything in today for some reason. Other weeks, if you remember, I've missed to the right. Throw one more shot. Just going to dial up the speed just one little notch on this shot. That was certainly better. With that trajectory, I could probably have used the speed from the previous shot. So again, using the awareness that you have with that, gaining information by watching what's going on, and then being aware of what part of the lane that you're really using. Not so much the lateral part that you're using, but which part of the lane front to back that you're using. All right, now I have the phase 3 here. Is there no questions today?
I'm skimming through. Most of them are just commenting on your spares. Rick Benoit thought you were going to miss a 7-pin before you missed anything else.
Okay, same shot as that last one. See if I can keep the speed up a little bit with that little bit more trajectory. I'm trying not to miss left. Certainly stronger ball. Hopefully you could see that, and that was a pretty good shot. Exactly what I wanted to do, ball motion wise, deflection wise. That was important. Somebody last week had mentioned that they wanted to learn more about what I was talking about when I'm using the word deflection. And I guess I'll just say I'm not prepared to do that today. That would be a great conversation to have with Rick and I. If there's a way that we could stream Rick in, we could do that right back here on the concourse. But that's pretty cool. So maybe we'll leave that for another time. Phase 3 again, with that same trajectory and the same speed that I just had. Got that one a little bit to the right. It read a little bit sooner. Made it make that lateral move. But now I got my thumb hole to fit on my spare ball, so I'm going to try to double bounce the spare. Okay, and I double bounce that spare. How important was the fit of my thumb hole? You saw those last two, they went right exactly where I wanted them to go. Okay, I'm gonna go back to the IQ Emerald, and I'm gonna move a little more left and slow down. So I'm moving to 20, and looking 21. I'm gonna throw it slower. Then we'll compare the phase 3 in the Emerald. Okay, definitely got through the front pretty clean. Again, weaker core, so that's what I would expect. I don't know if you could see it on the video, but I actually got around that one a little bit more than I wanted. That's why it made it jump a little bit more. Got lucky and tripped the 4-pin. better shot. I didn't quite get around that one as much as the last one. That was more this way. The other one was more this way. Both are very usable, but typically I don't like playing around with axis rotation until I really need to. So we'll try to do that one again. Okay, that was pretty good. A little bit more to the right, but rotation-wise, I think that was pretty close to the same as the last shot. Now we'll go ahead and throw this phase 3. And you should see the difference in the two balls is, it should be obvious. This phase 3 is obviously gets into a roll much more easily. Did I say phase 2?
I'm not sure.
Phase 3.
Phase 3.
Okay, same shot as the last two. Good one. Definitely. If you notice that shot, that one looked like it was quicker, but I don't think it was quicker because I got around it. I actually liked the way I came off of that one. So I think that was more the difference in friction in the two balls than it was just the fact that I got around it.
So while you're talking about your release and getting around it, does it matter how much finger you put in it or don't put in? Does it change the hook?
Absolutely. Absolutely. Those are what we call, those are feel moves. Those are grip tension, grip pressure moves. Am I trying to use more pressure with my ring finger? Am I trying to use more with my middle finger? Am I trying to use a little bit more with my thumb? How am I placing that in the ball? It's not that I'm taking my hand out of the ball more or less as much as it is. I'm just trying to now, you might need to get a little shot of my wrist here. This is what it looks like if I'm using more pressure. You want to look right here. I'm using more with my ring finger. This is more with my middle finger. This is more with my thumb. So all three of those pressures certainly have an effect. Here's another one that I use. How far I'm spreading my finger. How hard am I pushing? The tension with that finger. How hard am I pushing with my pinky? And every single one of those, sometimes I'm combining 2 or 3 of those types of things. I never learned to play the guitar, but in my mind, it looks like when a person's playing the guitar, how much of the little subtle moves they can make with their fingers and what they do with the strings of guitar to be able to yield different sounds while they're playing the guitar. Those little moves, we are all doing.
Now we're
It's whether or not you're able to be aware of what you're doing, and then dialing in on purpose what you're doing based on the previous shots. Yeah, Josh.
Now we're teaching you how to play the guitar.
I never learned how to play the guitar.
I tried for about a month, and I said, this is too hard for this. I'm going back to bowling.
You can do Guitar Hero.
All right. I think we're pretty good today. Any questions?
Rick thinks you should be able to call your shots, as in leaving a 2-pin or a 7-pin or a
Your
10-pin.
shot, baby.
Well, I got the 10 pin up there. So, 27, 22. Double bounce the 10 pin. Okay, pretty close.
What does Sean? What do you mean by can you get the IQ Emerald in the shop? Like, do we have it in stock? Yes, we do.
Okay, I will try to leave a week 10. How about that? Let's try to leave a week 10 right now.
I'll get back to your questions in 3 minutes. I just gotta turn on the light.
Oh,
That was a good attempt at it. All right, I gotta try to double bounce the 7-pin. Definitely did that, so that was good. All right, now I'm going to try to leave a famous Rick Benoit 4-pin. Almost. Almost. All right. I'm hitting just left center of the 6-pin. Okay. Since I put that piece of tape in, shooting spares a little bit better.
All right, I got some questions.
Gotta try to leave a 4-pin though.
Questions.
Yeah.
Nathan, do you have tips on reading a ball burning out versus carrying down too long?
what the hell were you trying to do?
Well,
on
I
that
was
one?
trying to leave a 4-pin,
Yeah.
not leave 4 pins. Tips on. Hey, let me try to shoot this because I'm shooting spares a little better, and then we'll ask you a question.
Here, while he's doing that, Josh, I got a good question. Why are you so good at standing in my light?
Readjust your lights there, homie.
Just stop getting in the way.
You tell me to come up closer so people can hear. What do you want me to do?
Oh,
All right, close enough. Okay, what was the question?
Do you have tips on reading a ball burning out versus carrying down too far?
Well, the answer is yes, I do. I don't know how in-depth I can really get into it here. That's definitely something that we cover in a ball motion workshop. And it has to do with a word that's called precession. Precession. It has very little to do with the skid, hook, roll phases that we've all heard for so many years. It has everything to do with precession and knowing what to watch for, factoring in what you're doing. That's certainly covered in a Bowl U workshop. Again, Rick, if you could elaborate as only you can, seeing as that you're on here, he may be able to give a quick answer to an otherwise lengthy response from me.
Okay, so another question, which I already know the answer, but he doesn't. For shooting spares, what's your take on urethane or plastic? Which do you prefer? Which one's easier or better?
I think when it comes to shooting spares, just knock the damn thing over. Your job is to make the spare. Now, if you're chopping spares with urethane, maybe you need something that goes straighter. If you're, Norm Duke and Mike Machuga, two very good friends of mine, they don't use either. They use whatever ball they're using. And both of them are phenomenal spare shooters. I would say for the guys on tour, I would say probably 90, maybe 95% of the guys on tour use plastic for their spares. Certainly when we're traveling overseas and we're limited to the number of bowling balls that we can take Usually most of the guys are only able to bring 6 bowling balls. Most of the guys use urethane for their spare, because then if there's a lot of friction and they need a urethane ball, then at least they have it. Me, when I travel overseas, I still bring my spare ball. I think my spare ball is the most important ball in my bag. And I'm going to be honest with you, the reason that my spare ball is so banged up is because I love the feel that I have in this spare ball. So, you know, I've actually drilled a couple of other spare balls, and I've played around with them because you see it's cracked and it could explode at any time. So I do have that backup spare ball in my trunk, but I just don't like the feel of that. So I got to play around with that feel a little bit and fine tune it. And that's why this one's a little banged up. So that spare ball is very, very important. I hope that answers your question. You can use whatever you want as long as you're making those spares. It's very important. A shout out to Bowl U and the Bowl U Clear the Deck format. The competition format, Clear the Deck. You use the initial frame scoring, the current frame scoring is what it's called. Current frame scoring. So a strike is 30. A spare is.
He changed it to 25, I think.
Oh, okay. Yeah, Rick, you just changed it to 25. Bowl U continues to evolve, and there's sometimes people know more about it than I do. But nonetheless, the Clear the Deck format is very simple. You just get to keep bowling until you have 3 opens. Once you have 3 opens, that's it. You're done, whatever that score is. I think the world record at this point is something around just over 4,000. But you start playing around and doing the Clear the Deck format during your practice sessions, and you're going to find out really quick where you rate. So again, that's the Bowl U Clear the Deck format. And Rick, if you're on here and you're commenting, please, you know, help grow Bowl U by. You might as well hear it right from the horse's mouth rather than the second or third generation through me. What else? Anything else?
He's been on commenting. He commented you're 0% on washouts today. But other than that,
I want to
no
try to
other
leave
questions.
a 4-pin again.
Oh, another 4 pins.
Now here's one. There's more and more people I see shooting this spare with their spare ball, with straight, shooting it straight. I don't. I haven't been able to really get committed to that. There's been a handful of times where I've needed to make sure I was going to get 3 pins, just because of count purposes. So I have shot it straight in those situations. But most of the time, especially in league, I just move 3 left of where I'm standing and throw it a little harder. So I'm going to do that right here. I was standing 20, moving 23, allowing it to get to the friction and throw it a little harder. Should make it. And I didn't throw it hard. So I'm really not doing a very good job today, to be honest with you, and I'm sorry for that. No excuses. No excuses at all. Just not executing that well today. All right, trying to leave a 4-pin. See if I can do it.
You can do it.
He just keeps leaving 4 pins. Oh, it tripped it.
Dang it! I thought I had it there.
That's what happens when you try to leave a 4-pin, you strike for days.
I'm gonna try and leave a 4-pin
That's our
for
rule.
league tonight.
That's our rule. Only when
All
I'm
right.
in a tournament, though, then I actually do start.
You know, it's pretty funny. If you see, or if you happen to experience a little silence, it's because the actual feed that you're seeing is about 7 or 8 seconds behind. And so I walk back and I can't help myself looking down and looking at what you are all seeing. And so I end up,
Yeah, what is this doing?
so I get sidetracked.
So, because you were gone, I need to be able to read questions.
Yeah, he wanted to know the questions. And we're about done, I think, for today.
Try it one more time.
I hope today was worthwhile. We featured 4 different IQs.
What about the IQ Fusion? Someone asked about that one.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that. I don't have one of those anymore.
What about the gold?
I had one and I loved it. I had a gold that I loved as well. I think that Emerald, the IQ Emerald, fits right in about that same usability as the IQ that Gold Pearl did. Both are great, great balls. You see a lot of these Emeralds on the racks when I go to tournaments. Tim, the leagues that you bowl in that aren't here, I know there's people using
Oh yeah,
them in those.
yeah,
in
definitely
those
as
leagues.
of lately.
So it's just, you know, that weaker core. It allows the ball to get down line. We've been selling a lot of them in the shop for some of the people that don't have a lot of speed. I think it's a good ball, but it is on the quicker side. So it is sensitive to friction. All right, another 4-pin
Another 4 pins.
attempt. Another 4-pin attempt. Oh, that could be it. Oh, 9-pin. 4-pin or a 9-pin. It's basically the same part of the head pin, especially when we're talking about deflection, which we aren't talking about deflection. 9-pin. How do I shoot a 9-pin? If the scoring pace is really, really, really low, then I use my spare ball. If the scoring pace is, you know, it's just a normal scoring pace, and I have a good reaction to the pocket, then I move 2 left and throw it harder. And I do that every single time. If the scoring pace is, if I have good control of the pocket and there's not an out of bounds over to the right, then I just move a couple left and throw it harder. I'll do that right here. And again, I hit the meat of the pin there, so that's important when you're shooting spares. All right, anything else? One more try?
One more.
The crowd here wants me to try one more time. So let that be a lesson to you. If you go out and you try to leave a 4-pin, get yourself lined up to where you would normally want to be playing, and then try to leave a 4-pin on purpose. And you'll be surprised of how much more of the head pin you can be using that you're not using. That's a good visual training tool for you as well. There's a lot more of that head pin that many people can use that they're afraid of using. And just try it when you go out and practice. Okay, is that it?
I think that should be good.
Good today. Like and share. We're not giving away a ball, but please just do it. Help us get those numbers up. Maybe we can try to get to, what would be a good solid number today? I feel like whenever you try to give something away, then everybody is more willing to help you out. Please help us make this grow. Like and share it, and see if we can get up over 10,000. That'd be a good number for this week. And Merry Christmas to
Let's say
everybody.
next Wednesday's Christmas. Are we going to do it on a different day or just take the week off?
Yeah, we got Christmas, and then the following week it would be
New Year's.
New Year's. Yeah, so
We'll talk about it. I
don't
guess
know. Let us be
stay
looking
updated
for
on the
the
page
post.
here. We'll update everyone on
yeah,
what we're going to do.
Stay updated on the post. But everybody, have a great Christmas and a very safe New Year. You know, if you're going out partying, let somebody else drive. If you live nearby here, if you have my number, give me a call. I'll come give you a ride. I don't want anybody driving because we need as many views as we can have.
I'm not even
Okay?
drinking. I'm just going to call you to be my cab.
Yep, okay. All right, thanks. Thanks for watching. Jason Hillman, congratulations on the ball giveaway. The winner of the ball, Jason Hillman. Make sure you come in to get that worked out. All right, thanks everybody. Merry Christmas.